So I do think because almost every single DeFi project out there that's popular, and not only DeFi, but also NFTs, they always start on Ethereum. And the most popular ones are still on Ethereum, despite congestion. So I do think that institutional money, they're getting into Ethereum, and I think that's a big reason why they will continue to move forward and stay the dominant protocol for now.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin, here with my brother Aaron, and of course, the great, the powerful cryptocurrency commentator and expert, George of CryptosRUs. Man, thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for that hype. But no, I'm just doing what I'm doing in terms of educating the masses, keeping people focused and positive. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, you provide great content. I've been a viewer since right around when we started this channel, like 2018. Before we get into Ethereum, I wanted to get your take, just generally speaking on the market. Which coins are you liking right now? Which coins in 2021 do you feel good saying like, oh, these coins are like better than others maybe? Anything?
I think right now, even when the market is good or when there's volatility, you can't go wrong with the big caps, which is any coin that I declare having over 10 billion in market cap. And that's because there's a reason why they are 10 billion plus in market cap. They have either strong leaders or they have a lot of traction, a lot of dApps, a lot of DeFi, right? A lot of loyal followers and investors. So for 2021, I do think this is the year for something like Ethereum, which we will go talk about. Also, this could be the year for Cardano. And of course, you have the other big boys such as like Binance Coin, which they've been killing it this year. And there's a few that have risen up quite fast, such as Polygon and Solana. Of course, VeChain is coming up too. So these big boys, the big caps, are the ones I'm looking at, and I think they're going to continue to do well later this year when the market picks up. And if they continue to bring on the dApps and users, they will do well going forward.
I feel you. I like how you named a bunch of like protocols where, presumably people will build on. I think that's kind of a smart bet. Protocols. We see the demand. It started off, Tron did not get any demand for a while, and then everybody was wondering, is there demand to build? And then Binance Smart Chain exploded, Ethereum exploded, Cardano getting ready in less than 60 days. But if there was one low cap moonshot, high risk, don't recommend it to anybody, do your own research, financial advice, but like one low cap moonshot that you think like, oh, this might be interesting. Anything?
There's a lot. How about Shiba? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They're not even low cap anymore. There's a lot of the smaller caps that I've supported over the years. Some of them have fallen, unfortunately, to micro caps. So they have not really come up. But some have moved into the mid cap, even big cap territory. So it's a hard question to answer. But right now, I would say if something that's not a chain, something that's not like a protocol, I would say look at something like KuCoin token, which used to be KuCoin shares. Because KuCoin as an exchange, they're doing great things. They're following the footsteps of Binance. And their token has risen up substantially in 2020 and 2021. And they've just come out with a new chain. So they could be following the same footsteps, and they're still open to US residents, which is very important right now. So yeah, I would say they're one to look at. I wouldn't say they're dangerous. You said like maybe not a good idea or not smart to invest into, but I think KuCoin token is still small enough where the rewards are there. Yet big enough so that you're not afraid of a rug pull or anything like that.
Interesting. And I want to even broaden this out a little more into the whole cryptocurrency market. This is a question we've been getting a lot. I know you probably have been getting it a lot. But in 2021, are you now bracing yourself for a 20K Bitcoin or a 100K Bitcoin?
I don't have to brace myself at a 400K Bitcoin.
100K.
That would be a great thing, and that's what I'm expecting. Even I'm not going to discount it because I've been wrong many times in the past. Even if we fall back to 20,000, it would not sway me away from thinking that we will still hit 100,000 this year. And I think, we've been through it. We've been through 2017 and going to 18, 19, 20. And, I went through it slightly in 2013 and 2014 and beyond, right? So we have seen traditionally Bitcoin, when it tops out, is toward the end of the year, and you see like this tremendous move upwards, and then kind of like the top blows, right? So right now what we're seeing is a lot of, we've come down a little bit, but now we're like just going sideways. And I feel like this is definitely not the same scenario as some of the previous tops that we have seen. And plus the environment is very different. So you can't just say it's like exactly the same as before. So I do think that what we're seeing right now will pass, and toward the end of the year, we will see continue Bitcoin and crypto continue upwards, and then maybe we'll see that top. But I do think Bitcoin is still heading to $100,000, at least, in my opinion.
Are you bullish on Ethereum, and why?
I am now, and for a few months earlier this year and even before, I was like, I don't know if Ethereum could really stay as the dominant protocol. But then I started noticing that institutions and more headlines about companies that's buying into Ethereum. And I thought about it. I'm like, why? What's the real reason? And I think the real reason is DeFi. I think people are very excited about DeFi, realizing that DeFi is, if you think about it, why Bitcoin was created as a store value and medium exchange. You could argue that all cryptocurrencies is a form of DeFi, but now we're seeing DeFi in another form where you could basically replace banks with it. So I think that's very exciting, and everything that goes along with it, having decentralized exchanges and also tokenization of stocks and property. All this, it lies into DeFi, and the fact that you have lenders and borrowers, it's very early. So I do think, because almost every single DeFi project out there that's popular, and not only DeFi, but also NFTs, they always start on Ethereum, and the most popular ones are still on Ethereum despite congestion. So I do think that institutional money, they're getting into Ethereum, and I think that's a big reason why they will continue to move forward and stay the dominant protocol for now. That may change years from now, but right now I don't think anything's going to pass them.
I got you. And I agree with that sentiment as well. A follow up to that is, if we're the bull case, I'm talking about the bull case for the end of the year. Okay. If Bitcoin, assuming Bitcoin does get over, 100K, nobody can see the future. But what is your end of the year sort of speculation for Ethereum, the bull case?
Well, I made some videos early on, and I correlated my predictions based on where Bitcoin will be. At that time, I was predicting that Bitcoin may go as high as 200, 300,000 by the end of the year, like a lot of other people have predicted before. So with that, if Bitcoin is going to go up 10x from where it is now, which is right around 33, 34,000, there's no reason to believe that Ethereum can't do a 10x. In fact, there's many reasons to think that it'll do more than 10x if Bitcoin went up 10x, right? So I would say if Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000 at least, that's 3x from where it is now, roughly. So Ethereum is right around 2,200. So you times 3, and that's putting it close to 7,000. But yeah, we know that altcoins traditionally move faster than Bitcoin, at least during the bull markets, bull runs. So that can make Ethereum go up 4x or 5x. So I think Ethereum probably will end up around 10,000 by the end of the year.
10,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Let me ask you something. So like, because there's so many different parts of ETH that you can talk about to be bullish on, like specifically this year, specifically with ETH. I mean, not only do we see NFTs, DeFi, everybody going on ETH, but besides that, they have some protocol upgrades that are seemingly going to be bullish for the price. So on around August 4th, they're going to implement EIP 1559. And also going into the end of the year, and possibly the beginning of next year, they're going to switch to ETH 2.0. Those two events together, the Ethereans are referring to it as the triple halving event. They're basically saying, you know, Bitcoin's halving every 4 years. Within a year, Ethereum is going to have such a supply shock. It's going to be like a triple halving. Do you think, do you put stock in that? And do you think if that's the case, around now would be the last chance to like really like load up on Ethereum?
I don't know. Yes and no. Well, first, let's talk about those events. EIP 1559 and ETH2. I think they're, of course, ETH2 is like the end game. So, of course, that's a big thing. But in the meantime, 1559 restructures how gas is calculated. And it'll make things, it doesn't solve congestion. It makes it more predictable and just gas fees in terms of calculating. Also, there's going to be burning introduced, right? So with the two, I think it's going to help Ethereum, you know, in term, it helps a little bit, but it doesn't solve the congestion issue, especially if the market picks up again, DeFi gets really hot again. There's still going to be issues, but at least it does introduce some form of deflationary, I guess, aspect to Ethereum. Although you could argue, and I brought this up before, you could argue that DeFi projects and NFTs themselves is deflationary for Ethereum because it just locks in all this ether into these projects. And same thing right now, you have, I think last time I checked, there's about $6 to $7 million worth of ETH that's also locked into the beacon chain, which you can't withdraw until ETH 2.0 is ready. Right. So that's also deflationary, but, you know, adding token burning or ETH burning to the protocol, obviously that will help with the inflation, and it just sets up the stage for them to complete ETH2, which I think everyone's looking forward to. But I think there's still scaling issues to be worked out. As far as I understand it, ETH2 is kind of like the first thing, but then there's Plasma or some other kind of scaling solution they need to implement to make it really scale. So I don't know if that's going to come like all at once or that's after, you know, both chains merge into proof of stake. So I don't know if the scaling issue is going to be solved right away, but eventually it will. And then once it does, I think, yeah, it's going to continue to do well. And to your point, so I've said a lot, but to your point, yes, this could be the last chance to get ETH cheap.
Because I would even say that, like, if the ETH network is congested, like we've seen over the last 6 months, that didn't stop. I mean, that's kind of like bullish, because that means people are using the block space, people are using the network. They could go to Solana, and they do, and they could go to Binance Smart Chain, and projects do, but there's still plenty of demand to get on the Ethereum blockchain. And even if congestion is not solved right away, I think you're right, it's going to be like a slow process. All of these things that are drawing supply away from ETH, whether it's DeFi, NFTs, ETH2, EIP 1559, the fact that ETH on exchanges, it's the lowest it's been in like 2.5 years. All of these things are drawing supply. I just think like going into ETH2, you know, could cause quite a supply shock.
Yeah, I think you're right. You bring up a good point. On-chain metrics show the reserve for ETH dropping, and that's a big thing for Ethereum too. I mean, right now it's silly, but there's no other way to. Excuse me. It's silly, but there's no other way to really judge price. But if you look at Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything else, vast majority of it is not on exchanges. Yet we're judging these coins based on what the spot market dictate, you know, is what the order books are saying. But vast majority of both is just held and it's just sitting there being hodled, right? So it's kind of funny like that. But yeah, eventually when reserves dries up on the spot exchanges, then price skyrockets.
I have a final question. Aaron might have a final one, but this one's a fun one. We like to ask all our guests, so I appreciate you playing ball. But maybe you've seen the metric that if Bitcoiners are right, if mass adoption does happen by the year 2030 or maybe 2035, owning just 0.28 BTC will put you statistically in the top 1%. It's enough to be quote unquote wealthy. For Ethereum, and acknowledging nobody can know the future, what is sort of the minimum amount in your mind that maybe somebody could accumulate this year and hodl for a long time that puts them in that wealthy status?
See, that's hard to answer. And the reason being, Ethereum to me is not a store of value like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is something that I have no problem holding 5, 10, 20 years. Maybe something fundamentally changes in 20 years, but like right now, I see it becoming more and more scarce, and more people just holding it and just utilizing a store of value. Ethereum to me is more a technology. Right now, it could be doing good. Next year, it could be doing good. But 5 years from now, is it still going to be the dominant protocol for DeFi? Or is something like Cardano or something even newer is going to take over? So to answer your question, I would have to assume that Ethereum is going to be like a store of value and just keep going up like Bitcoin. I can't say that's the case. I really can't, because it's a technology and technologies change and there's always better things that come out. So I don't know how to answer that really.
And I respect that. And by the way, that's why I subscribe to you. I love the level-headed sort of point of view you bring to the table. But, you know, judging if it is just a tech play, let's just say it's just like a stock, just like Amazon. Obviously, right. Amazon was early the first couple of years. It's still around 10 years. I'm just saying if the Ethereans are correct.
You know, okay, let's just assume, it becomes the next Google and it just stays a dominant protocol for the next, 20 years. If that's the case, let me, real quick, let me bring up CoinMarketCap. I just want to see where they are now.
For sure.
They're they're 250 billion already. So I would say probably 10 to 20, because, for them to get up to say $1 trillion in market cap, I think that's very, very realistic. But, can they get to 10 trillion market cap? I would say not anytime soon, but maybe 10 years or so, maybe, right? And they could continue on. Yeah, so I would say at that point, that's 100x. So that would, a 2,000 Ethereum would be at what, 20,000? No, that would be 200,000 per ETH at that point, if it just continued to keep going up, right? So then if you had 10, that would be about $2 million at that point. So I'll just say 10. I'll just say 10.
That's for a $1 trillion market cap?
No, that's for more.
That's more. No, that's a 10 trillion market cap.
Okay. Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
I feel like all of us who we're making content in the bear market, especially, because I'm noticing this with you, and that's why I say it, dude. You're so mature with your analysis, and I feel so seasoned now. You're not just throwing out things wildly. I respect that, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because when you're in YouTube, right? A lot of people is basing their video. It's very competitive, so you have to come up with topics. And, a lot of things are clickbaity, and a lot of people throw wild predictions out just to get the views, right? So it's a fine balance to keep that in check and still keep people interested and motivated and focused, right? So it's hard to do. And that's what I try to do, try to be realistic, yet get people excited and motivated to stay in the game, right? So That's what I do.
With that being said, guys, appreciate you being on today, George. Links to George's Twitter and YouTube are in the description. I suspect everybody head on over to George's channel and then type in his next video or the coming videos. Hey, we saw you on Altcoin Daily, new subscriber. Thanks for being on, George.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.